Hello, this is the Handsome Crayon, and I'm back again with another fanfiction reading. So, without further ado, let's begin. This is Graphs by Mozzarella, Chapter 11. It's showtime. Quote, or actually, no quote. If you want to dash today, you have to rainbow yesterday. Spitfire plopped gracefully back in her seat. She appeared shaken, upset, disturbed, what have you. A few moments of nervous fidgeting passed without the return of any rainbow-colored Pegasi before those around her started to take notice. "Dude," inquired Gilda, "everything all right?" The Wonderbolt let out a huge sigh. "Finally! I've got a story I'm dying to tell, and no pony asks." "What happened?" her partner asked, frowning. "So Rainbow Dash," she began, stopping when she felt a row of 5 ponies behind her lean in. She turned around to face her audience and began again. "So Rainbow Dash and I were walking back from the bathroom, and we decided to go find Blitz because he was taking a while. But when we got close, we started to hear ponies grunting and stuff. Right outside the door of the culture room, Lightning Dust was like attacking Blitz." "What?" said the farmer inquisitively. "Like wrestling?" "Psst, sure. Only Lightning seemed to want to do the other kind of wrestling. The kind Mommy and Daddy were doing when the foal walked in on them that night." Every pony's face contorted to either disgust, shock, or both. "So Blitz was all like, get off and stuff, but she really had him there. Then you know what she does? She starts kissing him. Like straight up snogging, like tongue swallowing." Rarity cringed at the vivid description. "We get it. Please just go on." Fluttershy was now entirely inside her mane. "Right. Sorry. So Blitz finally gets her off. Good heavens!" the white unicorn interjected. "Not like that. At least she didn't get to that before Blitz pulled free. Once he saw us, though, he bounced. Totally blew a hole in the ceiling and everything." I think I got a little dash at the end. Every pony around remained engrossed in the Pegasus's tail, except Twilight, who was grimly shaking her head. "That's what I was talking about," she sent telepathically to her fellow unicorn. Rarity didn't react. Being right or wrong paled in comparison to juicy gossip like this. "What did Dashy do?" Pinky asked, worried, not even giggling at the phrase Dashy do. Spitfire opened her mouth to respond, then closed it and just behind her. "See for yourself." The crowd behind them consisted of ponies either chatting with one another or asleep in uncomfortable-looking positions. However, there was one greenish spot in the colorful sea that was not doing either. The spot had somewhat black and blue around one eye. Applejack let out a hearty chuckle. "Atta girl, Dash." "Is she gonna be okay?" Fluttershy asked softly, exiting her mane. The fiery Wonderbolt laughed. "I don't know. I felt that. I felt it when that punch landed. Definitely didn't think she could hit that hard." "Oh my." She returned to her mane. 6 more weeks of winter. And oh, and where is she now?" Rarity inquired. Spitfire scanned the sky and shrugged. "She went through the hole after the beatdown. Probably went after him." Rarity scowled slightly. A step below trouble. "This will certainly complicate things," she thought to herself. Before any more discussion could take place, a loud voice from the speaker put out a few slurred words to the audience. "All right, then, my ponies. We got 3 shows or something left for you tonight. Going next are the Wonderbolts, Vinyl. Are you sure you're alright?" "Wonderbolts? Isn't that name taken or something?" "Yo, Wonder Bars. There are already Wonder Belts out there. They're all famous for What is it? Bolting or something? You can't just pretend to be bolters like those guys. Final, why don't you lie down? I'll take it from here. A thump echoed through the speakers, and suddenly there was no more blue hair visible at the announcer's table. Will Spitfire and Soren please come to the stage? Octavia requested without so much of a trace of alcohol in her voice. Soren burst from his seat and began to roll his joints. That's our cue, Spit. You ready? As I'll ever be. She droned, following him. After they were out of an earshot, the stallion nudged his partner out of wherever her mind had run off to. You all right? He asked with genuine concern. She shrugged. Yeah, guess I'm just a little disappointed is all. His eyes fell somewhat. Me too. But hey, at least it's both of us. What do you mean? Well, it would kind of suck if one of us got shut down and the other succeeded. Spitfire smiled and shook her head. So, what? We're each other's backups now? Let's be honest, you had more of a chance than I did. Getting with her would kind of be like getting with a princess for me. It just wasn't gonna happen. But it was fun to think about. Not too sure about that. My chances were more like me being totally creepy and pushy. Seriously, I can't believe I acted like that. Like I was a freaking school filly or something. We both acted silly. That's what these stupid crushes do to ponies. You know what? Screw crushes. Screw crushes? Screw crushes. She then, in front of what might as well have been all of Equestria in this media-driven age, pulled Soren into the deepest, most powerful kiss she could muster. No caution, no bull. The crowd didn't exactly go silent. Silence was impossible once you get past a certain number of ponies, but the noise definitely dropped by a few decibels as the display of affection dragged on. When she finally let him come up for air, she had her forelegs wrapped tightly around his neck, eyes staring into and beyond his. Screw crushes, he agreed. Two sounds could be heard at this point. One was the howl of Vinyl Scratch, as if she had just seen two schoolhouse lover birds hold hooves. Luckily, all dialogue was being taped for security reasons. The sound would go on to play in the background of many sitcoms. Together was the exasperated sigh of one purple unicorn in the stands. Is this really happening now? She complained to no pony in particular. She was just practically sitting on Blitz's lap, and now this? Honestly. I know, injected Rarity with less anger. They've been on how many interviews? Not once did they share that they were together. The public needs to know, Twilight. We deserve the gossip if we can get it. We deserve the gossip if we got it. Shut up, Rarity. That's not what I meant, said Twilight's unfiltered mind. When it passed through the necessary channels, it came out as yet another frustrated sigh. Settle down, Twilight, came a less confrontational part of her. You won. It was true, of course. Some unpleasant breakup was undoubtedly in the making, which was anything but Rarity's promised benefit to Equestria. There was nothing more to worry about. She briefly donned a relaxed smile for the first time that night. Briefly, because it was immediately replaced by one of anticipation. Turns out, she was supposed to be having fun. Who knew? Fillies and gentlecolts, I present to you the Wonderbolts. The lights dimmed, the crowd silenced. The drum began. A small note. You see, I originally embedded the lyrics of the song into the link. Blah. A small note. You see, I had originally embedded the lyrics of the song in the above link, but recent news on fanfiction has discouraged that sort of thing. So instead, the dark lyrics of Clayton will be So instead of the dark lyrics of Clayton, you will be subjected to my musing on his dark lyrics. I do hope you are satisfied. Remember that I never asked for this. They were accompanied by some muffled low electronic instrument. Just as the sound began, the flyers took off of the center of the stadium. Spitfire stopped on a dime, her fiery trail fading quickly without any means of support. Soren kept his course and began to circle his partner, engulfing them both in a thick spear of stone-gray smoke. He picked up speed as the music reached its crescendo. Black Star! With each synthesized boom, the spear pulsated and grew. It soon reached several meters in diameter. Black Star! An orange light within the spear flashed with the next boom, lingering and growing each time. For every angle, it resembled an eclipsing sun. Pitch blackness around the center surrounded by a blazing cornea. A pitch-black chorus began in a high-pitched chorus began in the background. As it rose in volume, Soren emerged from the cloud and began to form a horizontal ring around it with his dark trail. At the moment he left, it started to grow brighter. Whoever was singing this sounded rather hostile and went on about black stars and spitting. The stallion retreated back into his spear just as Spitfire came out. She started to fly through his ring, dispersing into a flavor of her brighter trail. Our narrator continued with his rant about some group that would grant some wish or another. He didn't sound too happy about the whole ordeal, to be honest. A trio of booms rocketed the stadium as Soren bursted out again, arching in and out of his structure. It soon became apparent that our narrator was not the one being subject to the unfortunate wish. Spitfire mimicked the stallion, her blazing hoops resembling solar flares. About here, he shared with us that there was little to be done about these wishes. Their creation truly exemplified chaos. Considering a few members of the audience were rather accustomed to that concept, this was quite a feat. He asserted that we should not waste our effort. He asserted that we should not even waste our effort. Fleeting shadows and flames provided more visual stimulation than most of the ponies knew what to do with. Yet he felt that we should praise its impotence. Strange. They reached back into the burning void as the singer began his ominous moans. I must say, Twilight, I never took you for a fan of whatever this is, Rarity remarked to her head-bobbing friend. The purple unicorn smiled sheepishly. I admit, it's a bit loud for my taste, but it's not that bad. I'm more interested in the meaning of the song rather than the sound. The farmer's friend snorted. Speak for yourself. I can't even figure out what the hey kind of instrument they're playing in this. Sounds like one of them mechanical juicers or something. It's called a synthesizer. A what now? A synthesizer. It's like a machine that can be used to make music. Most songs of this genre are made on a computer. Applejack scratched her head. Computer? Ain't that cheating? Not at all, ejected the yellow Pegasus, who was happy to find anything to distract her from the assault on her ears. They have just as much trouble with their programs as other musicians do with their instruments. The only advantage they receive is the ability to make unique sounds. Rarity felt confused, as did her other friends. Fluttershy, darling, do you listen to this type of music? Oh, no, of course not, but some of the animals do. The animals? Yeah, Cell Dweller is very popular among the fruit bats, and Little Angel loves his dubstep. No pony knew exactly what to make of that. Between the explosions in their eyes and the noise in their ears, there wasn't enough room in their heads to properly process the image of that sweet little bunny bouncing along to some ear-shattering bass drops. Not including Pinky, of course. She simply returned to bobbing her head and humming along as if she had expected as much. By the second verse, Rarity had cleared her head enough to get back to the probing. She leaned over to Twilight. You said you were more concerned with the meaning of the song. With the meaning of songs. What exactly does this one mean? I can't quite find one. The unicorn smiled a cheesy smile. The smile the protagonist dons as he or she spits out a catchy one-liner. or what would have been considered catchy about half a century ago before ponies discovered what actual wit was. Oh, something along the lines of, be careful what you wish for. The fashionista shrugged an unimpressed shrug. I suppose that's as good a lesson as any. I can't imagine why he couldn't just lower his voice and tell us, though. What? Twilight asked. You've got a better lesson? Nothing of the sort. I simply don't agree is all. Don't agree? What's not to agree with? The heart wants what the heart wants, Twilight. On some matters, it just takes a leap of faith. With one desire, what one desires may very well be worth the risk. Twilight frowned, annoyed. So we should throw caution to the wind whenever the spirit moves us? I suppose not. Though I recall hearing that fortune favors the bold. It doesn't matter anyway. Look at us, arguing during this, of all things. By the way, do you have any idea how they make those lights like that? Rarity gave a short laugh and shook her head. Of course you know. You're Twilight Sparkle. Twilight Sparkle did know. Her head just wasn't exactly in the right place for the explanation. Her opponent just gave up a perfectly good chance to make her point. Had she really forgotten? No. She was more clever than that. Still, Tutor Twilight was more powerful than combatant Twilight. She did not hesitate to take the reins. Well, to understand this, you have to know that magic just isn't limited to unicorns. All ponies have some means of magic. It all just depends on the location in which the magic is stored. She went on with the lesson that most college students were scammed into paying for. Though Rarity couldn't quite pay attention to her with all the bright lights and booming going on around her. It's also worth mentioning that she did not particularly care. One absurd long chains of hallelujahs, courtesy of the singer, with Pinkie Pie singing back up a bit too cheerfully. Later, the black sun in the middle of the stadium had reached critical mass. Its swirling black surface bubbled with what appeared to be orange plasma. The parents grabbed hold of their children out of instinct because nothing stops an incoming inferno more than an additional layer of squishy pony flesh. It did not engulf them, thankfully, and even if it did, they signed a waiver. The star began to shrink just as the song calmed down and to a relatively slow pace. Our singer lapsed back into the third verse, which was in fact nearly the same as the first, as the sound grew fainter. Then the respite was taken away just as swiftly as it came. The chorus and the booms returned. The star contracted with each other. Soon it appeared too small for a foal to fit inside, let alone two flying adult Pegasi. And yet it continued to shrink. The sphere slowly became more and more to the point in the air, as infinitely small as a spot that seemed to distort the air around it. As the singer reached the chorus, it started to shake unnaturally, as if it was not meant to exist in that reality. The black hole drew attention like a real one would draw anything else in. It was mesmerizing to see beyond the event horizon. To see a true void, the blackest black, and so on. A low buzz faded into existence just above every pony's hearing threshold. It was not coming from the speakers or a foal that thought it was cute to download the mosquito ringtone. It didn't even seem like a sound that a machine could make. And it was angry. Dread struck the audience as they watched the unstable, opalescent mass. Would it swallow them up? Trap them in the darkness forevermore? Apparently not. With the final lyrics, the sound cut off abruptly, and in that instant, the black hole collapsed in on itself and allowed reality come back into focus. No pony would be entirely certain what had happened. They tried not to blink for all the good it did them. They wanted to see how it would end. But the eyes were not up to such a task. After an inexplicable daze that followed the disappearance of the show's only props, the performers appeared out of thin air, as if they had not been moving. After a short pause, cheers erupted from the stadium, coupled with some muffled plopping noise. Some ponies had not yet figured out that clamping on stadiums did not have the same effect as it would back on the ground, so they switched to whistling and clapping their hooves together. From afar, the team looked rather imposing. They floated back to back with their expressions blank as if they had not just been bent space and time. My word, Rarity exclaimed, gawking. They aren't even winded. I'm dying spits, muttered Soren through pressed lips. She didn't move to acknowledge him. She swallowed, if I turn my head one more time, I will throw up. Why do we even do that routine? He asked laboriously. We feel like crap afterwards. Because it's the best one we've got, and we can't afford to be shown up by any pony at this thing. But it's Rainbow Dash. But nothing. We've got an illusion to maintain. Now, I'm gonna turn slowly so we can head back to our seats. If I throw up on you, sorry. She placed a hoof on him for support and nearly sent him plummeting towards Equestria. I don't think I'm gonna make it, he whispered. Spitfire grunted and mentally demanded the world to stop spinning. Keep it together. We just need to stay alive a little bit longer, and then we can crash on the bed. Mentioning a bed caused Soren to drool as if he had seen a pie on a windowsill. However, another detail caught his attention as well. We? What? You expect me to fly all the way to my house after this? The stallion faked a worried sigh, which was easy given his condition. Fine, I guess you could stay at my place. Yeah, like you would send me away. Come on, I need to sit down. Yeah, I like the idea of sitting down. Rhino Scratch had moved her stylish shades up and over her horn in order to display the awe she was feeling. At night, there really was no need to wear them anyway. However, she preferred to keep Pony's eyes off hers. They got all upset about it for some reason she couldn't understand. Speaking of things she couldn't understand, her drunken mind was having trouble processing what had just happened in front of her. It was like some black dot or something, but then there was no dot and there were wonderbolts instead. Weird. Dude, she breathed, trailing off immediately. She couldn't even dedicate any thought to the hoof waving before her face. Snap out of it, Vinyl. Just 2 more and you can... what did you call it? Trip out or whatever? Come on, you can speak, correct? Huh? Right. Who's next? She squinted at the sheet of paper before her, mouthing what she'd read. Double Rainbow? Alright, Double Rainbow, you're up. Rainbow Dash scowled back at the stadium in the distance, the brightest spot in the nighttime Cloudsdale. The Wonderbolts were supposed to go next, but there were other things to think about. Luna was being less than generous with her moonlight tonight. How could one full moon be dimmer than another? Did it change with the princess's mood? Was she sad or angry? Or maybe it was a side effect of Dash's seeing red. She shook her head, trying to rid herself of that stupid little scene replaying over and over in her mind. Those two tangled up on the floor, her with that damned grin of hers. Hey, what's up? She said when he ran off. She then said, Blurg, as Dash's hoof pressed through her head. I should have punched her harder, Dash bet. She doesn't care about any pony but herself. I knew she hadn't changed. Some part of Dash tried to find a way to excuse Lightning's action, but it received a cold glare every time it tried to speak. So what if she didn't know about them? She could have asked, or picked up on it sometime between the wrestling and the punch. Dash considered returning for a few more blows at that smug little face. And him? Oh, I'll get him for this. Frickin' Blitz. That is the end of chapter 11. This was a fairly short chapter. Also, there's note, the song was Black Star by Cadwell. Thank you for being here. Or listening. I guess. I don't know. Bye.